Hello again. Well, yesterday we took the hide food off that briefcase with saddle soap again, and once again we've got quite a difference to look at. More of that in a minute. Nice cup of tea, I think. Cheers. As usual, just a job. Yesterday we talked about compassion towards those less gentle. Tolerance is another thing. I've noticed a number of times people's opinions that might differ from mine. They're either to the right or to the left of me, and I don't always agree with everything they say, either politically or religiously or whatever we happen to be talking about. And to be fair, not everybody's right all the time, and certainly not me. But it's important to tolerate other points of view, because sometimes you find out you were wrong and you didn't know you were wrong until maybe years later, and you find out and you think, that's what he was trying to tell me, or that's what she meant. And the arrow drives home sometimes decades later. But there you go. It's always best to tolerate other views and think about them. You don't have to accept them. You won't always agree with them, but sometimes the other person is right. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go back now and see what's happened. We've allowed that briefcase to dry once again. First we let it soak up all that lovely hide food, then we took it off, and now it's dried. I think the next step is going to be to put some conditioner on it. Maybe give it a polish once it's dried a little bit. We'll see. Come with me now if you want to, and let's have a look. Right, let's get started, shall we? Now have a look at this. We put the hide food on it, as I said, and then we removed what was on the surface with saddle soap, and it's left it with a flat finish, but we can fix that. And what I've done, as before, I've mixed up some conditioner, and this conditioner is linseed oil, lanolin and beeswax, but a thinner solution than the hide food. And this is going to condition the leather and feed it again, but it'll give it a little bit of a shine when we buff it up. However, that won't be the only shine we put on it. After this we've got one more treatment to do, so let's have a go. You can see it's a lot looser, this conditioner. One of the things that enhances your life, or can enhance your life, is the ability to be grateful. Gratitude's a thing you don't see too much of these days. But you should think back occasionally and just think about your lucky breaks. What's happened to you in your life that's been unexpectedly good, or that other people don't benefit from these days? I'm exceptionally lucky to have had a fantastic education. I'm not saying I made the best of it by any means. I hope I had a good go, but my teachers and my school were superb, and I'm eternally grateful for that fact, both at primary level, at secondary level, and then on to higher education. And I couldn't have been more blessed, really. And I often think about it, and I go back to these old situations and my old schools in my mind. I wish I'd taken even more advantage of it than I was able to, but you're constrained, aren't you, by your own maturity at the time, and there are external factors that affect things. I wasn't able to be propelled through higher education by means of parents who supported me, but at the same time I was lucky enough to be able to do it a little bit later, by which time I got a wife who really did support me and continues to. And that's another thing it's worth being grateful for. Now you can see the difference it's making already, just this conditioner on here, and from where we started with this briefcase, it's in a lot better place. It's a thirsty old thing, is this, and it'll absorb whatever I put on it. I considered putting another layer of hide food on there, but I've decided against it because I'm trying not to give the stitches too much of a hard time. They don't always like some of these solutions, particularly if they're cotton, and I think this bag is just old enough to have cotton rather than polyester. Certainly it's older than polyester, or nylon stitches, so I'll just take it a little bit carefully. The discipline at school, for me, not for me personally, but for all of us, was quite strict. We were taught by men who had been in the war, and those men had been subject to some even stricter discipline, both at their own schools, and their fathers had been in the First War, and I should think some of their grandfathers and great-grandfathers might go back as far as Waterloo. Everyone had got military service, because national conscription meant that you did join up and were made to follow certain rules. Character building perhaps, character deforming maybe, who knows. The army is a mill. It breaks them down and reforms them into what the army requires, but whether or not that's a good life outcome, I don't know. Certainly self-discipline is important, and that is instilled into you in spades. Now just look at this. This is starting to look something like... That's nearly dry enough already. I said it was thirsty. Let me see if I can give it a little buff with a dry cloth. Yes, look at that. Look at the polish that's coming. This won't remain for too long, this initial sheen. But the next stage that I shall perpetrate upon it will give a more lasting shine. But this at the moment I'm pleased with. Here's a trick: if you can, learn to do things with both hands. Learn to be ambidextrous. Everyone can be, to different degrees. I'm naturally left-handed, so it's easier for me to, because I've had to, practice using my right hand, simply because a lot of tools and implements are made for right-handed people. I never got to the stage at school, as people in the years before me did, where they tried to make you write with your right hand and not your left, because of some insane sanctimonious religious idea that left-handed was, the Latin is sinister, but we use sinister to mean a different thing entirely. And these idiots who tried to make left-handed people write with their right hand entirely got the wrong end of the stick in every sense. But there you go. As I say, I was lucky I didn't fall prey to that kind of abuse, and it was abuse. All the people who were naturally left-handed and gifted, that were made to think that they were limited because they were unable to use their right hand quite as well. Now I've become able to use my right hand almost as well. I can write with it, but not as neatly. But I've done that by choice, not because somebody had beaten it into me or tried to. As I say, I've been exceptionally lucky with my education and the people that I met. I'm sure there were some horrors amongst them in their personal lives, but I wasn't subjected to it, and neither was anyone that I know, apart from at one particular school I went to for a couple of years, and there was a man there. He was a devil, and he died in prison because of what he had done. I think karma served him suitably, and he got his just desserts, but There were people like that. There still are. There always will be, I guess. And compassion and tolerance and understanding comes into it. But people who do things like that need stopping. Right, that is not quite it, but it's very close. I'm not displeased. But there for today we will leave it. Come back and see me tomorrow if you want to. And we'll do the final thing, I think, the last coat. You can do more than one coat of this last thing. You can do more than one coat of this conditioner, and I might in a minute. But tomorrow will probably be the last day that we work on this one, and then I've got something equally nice and possibly even more challenging. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye bye for now.